Hey everyone, I just wanted to quickly talk about motivation and accountability with autism and ADHD. So, a lot of the time, I can start a project or something that I really want to do, and then either I will just find something else because something else will grab my attention, and then I'll get hyper focused on whatever this new thing is before I finished the first thing that I started. Or the first thing will suddenly get really difficult and I won't know how to carry on. I'll just get overwhelmed and then that project gets forgotten about, which is not good. I mean, eventually I do tend to get back to projects that I've left, but it can take a lot longer than I'd like it to take. So I've set myself a bit of a challenge to find ways of motivating myself and having more accountability and actually getting things done. So I thought maybe what I could do is just start uploading videos about things that I'm trying to get done, projects that I'm working on, and grow. Yeah. This is going to be another 20-minute video because I'm going to keep getting distracted by birds. Yeah, so I thought if I make videos about the things that I'm trying to get done and the projects that I start, then I've got some level of motivation because obviously I'm making videos about things. So then I have to make the next video, and hopefully that is some level of motivation and accountability. Perhaps, maybe. We'll see how that goes because I've sort of tried that in the past, but not really setting myself like any proper targets or schedules. I've just sort of uploaded a random video and then that's kind of been it. And you know, I didn't really set myself a way to make the videos actually help me carry on, right? And so what I'm trying to think of now is ways that if I start by making a video about a project, then I have some form of accountability in the video and some additional motivation in the video that's actually going to make me make the next video. And to make the next video, obviously, I have to carry on with the project. Crow. Yeah. So before I started recording this video, I didn't really think this through far enough ahead to tell you how I plan on making that happen. Just that it's the thing I've decided to do now. So I think the first few things that I'm going to try and make videos about more often is how autism and ADHD personally affects me. Obviously, this is going to be different for everybody with autism and ADHD. Everybody's different, everybody's experience is different. The things that help me might not help somebody else who has autism and ADHD, but I think it's nice if people are talking about this more, you know? I literally just recorded a 20-minute video about chewable jewellery because that helps part of my autism and ADHD, and I really didn't expect it to take 20 minutes. So yeah, so the things that I think I'm going to start with are how autism and ADHD affects me and things that help me cope. And then the first kind of challenges, I guess. No, I don't like the word challenge. Challenge is probably a good word. I don't like the word challenge and I don't know what word to use instead. Like, project also sounds a bit daunting. Quest. We're going to do some questing. So some of the first quests then will be talking about how autism and ADHD affects me in daily life, and I've already said this, and how I cope with it. And then I think I've been saying this for years, right? Even if any of you used to watch me on Twitch, I've been saying this for years. I would really, really like to have a van that I convert into my ideal camper, not just specifically buying a camper van, because every time I see camper vans that are already built, I look at the interior and there is so much that I would want to change. I'm like, who built this? Who did you build it for? Why did you build it that way? That's stupid. Let me build something better. So if I just get a van and build it myself, well, build the interior myself, not build the whole van myself. I'm not a mechanic. But if I build the interior myself, it'll be exactly what I want it to be. And it'll be good for specifically the kind of traveling that I want to do. Once I've got my van, I want to do a lot of travel vlogging. Like, I will do some interesting places, but one of the things I've realized is that I really, really don't like being in crowded, busy places. I'm sure nobody likes being in crowded, busy places. That's, it can't just be me. So I will do things like, go and, I guess, record castles or whatever. But don't expect me to be doing like, this is the best coffee shop in whatever city. That's not really going to be a me thing, because I don't enjoy being in coffee shops. And I'm 37. My birthday is in a few days. I turn 38 in a few days, right? And it's taken me this long to realize that the reason that I don't really connect with most vloggers, and the reason that I always thought I want to be a vlogger, but I can't be a vlogger because I don't really have anything in common with vloggers, is because I would rather come and sit somewhere like this, where I've got pretty trees, I can spot the birds, and bring my own thermos of whatever tea I've got at the moment. I was really into a tea that I got from Bird and Blend, which was the Starry Night tea. But it was a seasonal thing, and I'm really annoyed because they don't make it all the time. And I don't know if they're going to bring it back. And so I'm going to have to work out how to make my own, which is fine. But I would rather come somewhere like this and bring my own thermos, which I've got the coolest thermos bottle. That's a Lisa Parker design. And I don't know where I got that sticker from, but that sticker is really cool. It was at a convention, but I can't remember the name of the artist who did it. But they probably have an Etsy shop, so, search for that on Etsy, I guess, if you like it. And it always makes me smile, and it always reminds me that I really ought to actually drink enough. But yeah, instead of like telling you what the best coffee shop in the city is or something like that, whatever quote unquote normal people, normal vloggers, whatever do, I would rather come here and, kind of, well, I say here, any random woodland park somewhere with birds and stuff, bring my own whatever tea I happen to like at the moment, and just enjoy there being no people, or like the occasional dog walker, but the occasional dog walker is fine. I'm not in a massive crowd, basically, is what I'm saying. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, then maybe the videos that I'm going to make are going to be interesting. I mean, I guarantee I'm also going to ramble on about other random interests that I've got. You're going to hear me talking about horror films, you'll hear me talking about paganism. Anytime I get a new book about serial killers, you're going to hear me talking about whatever serial killer book. Do put something in the comments, though, if you like knowing all of the details about like serial killer stuff or horror films, or if you prefer me to keep it kind of a little bit toned down, I guess. Like, you know how you have to pick which true crime podcast you're listening to based on whether you want them to go into all of the gory details or whether you just want a general overview. I don't want to alienate anybody who's interested in any of the nature stuff that I'm going to be doing, or any of the paganism stuff, by like going into too much detail about horror films or true crime or whatever. So let me know, I guess. I might do some more gaming stuff eventually, but I've kind of got to the point where I'm not really focusing on gaming, like even just for myself. I can't even remember the last time I logged into World of Warcraft, and that was my favourite game for however long, forever probably. So, I mean, I haven't even bought the latest expansion. It's been that long since I've had my brain in a mental state to be playing Warcraft, right? So I don't know about that. I kind of got into Magic the Gathering recently, so if I can find a way to play Magic the Gathering with somebody in the park without the cards like blowing away in the wind, if anybody's got any ideas about how I can play Magic in the park without the cards blowing away in the wind, drop that in the comments section for me, please, because I think that'd be really cool. Like, I got super into Magic recently, and so that could be something. I don't know. Anyway, basically what I'm saying is I don't 100% know what kind of videos I'm going to be making. It's going to just be whatever my autism and ADHD and hyperfocus and whatever I'm able to focus on. That's going to be the videos that I'm going to be making. But a challenge that I want to set myself is, I got off this topic again, right? So I was saying about the camper van idea, okay? And what I'd like to do is start with the camper van and then eventually not get rid of the camper van, because that'd be silly, because the camper van will be cool, but also eventually buy a narrowboat and live on a narrowboat, because you can actually live on a narrowboat as your fixed address. Like, you can't live in a van as your fixed address in the UK. That doesn't work. But you can have a narrowboat as your fixed address, which it's to do with having a permanent mooring and then still being able to like tour with your boat. So it is possible. So that's what I'd like to do, because I just like being in nature, and my boat can be permanently be in nature, right? So that's the plan. But the challenge that I'm going to set myself is the way that I have to get the money for the van and to convert the van and then for the boat. I want to do entirely by selling stuff that I won't be able to keep once I've got a boat. Because the problem with going from living in a house to living on a narrowboat is you can fit a lot more random stuff in a house than you're ever going to be able to fit in a narrowboat. So I don't want to permanently have a storage unit or something like that, because that's silly. The end goal is to live on a narrowboat. There won't be like houses and storage and whatever afterwards. It's going to be just live on the boat, right? So my challenge is, the only money that I'm allowed to use for getting the van, turning the van into a camper, and then buying the narrowboat is whatever money I make from selling the stuff that I won't be able to keep on the narrowboat. The crow agrees. Thank you, crow. And also anything that I make by actually vlogging. So if I've got to use only that kind of money, then that should motivate me and hold me accountable for making more of the vlogs that I constantly say, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then I try, and usually I'm pretty successful for about a week, and then I stop. And it will be because my hyperfocus has gone on to something else. But if I can only, and this happened the last time I tried to do big decluttering the attic and that, the crow still agrees. I got part way and then I was just like, okay, this is really difficult. I can't decide what I want to keep and what I don't want to keep, and I don't even have the narrowboat yet. So until I get the narrowboat, maybe I don't need to do it. But this way, instead of having like an entire house's worth of stuff to sort through when I've got the boat, the stuff is already sorted. And whatever's left is the stuff that's going to fit on the boat and be needed on the boat. So hopefully this works. We'll see. Like, you know, next month if you see a video go up going, yeah, I failed at that, then, you know. But hopefully I won't. I mean, hopefully this is going to be the way to keep myself motivated, right? So, yeah, the only money that I'm going to use for the van, converting it, and the narrowboat is from selling stuff that I won't be able to keep on the narrowboat and from whatever money I make from vlogging. Now, that brings me to the next point. You are not going to hear me constantly being like, whatever it is that the quote-unquote normal vloggers do with the, you know, like, share, subscribe, whatever. Like, we all know to do that if we like the content, right? I don't need to go around being one of those people that's begging for money. The only time you're going to hear me say things is like, you know, when there's something that I was genuinely curious about, like if you've got any ideas of how I can play Magic the Gathering in a park without the wind blowing the cards away, do leave a comment about that, because I can't think of any way that it would work. Like, I was thinking maybe I could get like whatever that fabric is, you know, that like transparent plastic fabric that they make rain mats out of. I was thinking maybe I could get that and then I'd be able to see the cards through that. But then obviously you have to move cards around while you're playing, which means you'd have to lift the plastic sheet and then the cards would still be able to blow away. So this is not me doing the normal, quote-unquote, normal vlogger thing of trying to force comments. This is genuinely, I can't think of a way of playing Magic in the Park without the cards just taking flight. So if you've got any ideas for that, I really would appreciate it. So yeah, this has been another nearly 20-minute ramble that I thought was only going to take me about 2 minutes. Welcome to Autism and ADHD. So yeah, that's going to be the thing that I'm working on at the moment. You will, like I say, get the random paganism vlogs and, you know, like horror films and whatever else I happen to be interested in. So yeah, but that's the challenge that I'm setting myself, and hopefully that's going to mean that I actually get this done. And you know, we're only in May at the moment. I might have my camper, I mean, I'd hope by the end of the year. I'd hope maybe like August, September time, because I'd quite like to do some autumn and winter camping. I love autumn and winter camping because the campsites tend to have less people, and this goes back to why I don't want to be the person telling you what the best coffee shop in a particular city is. I want to be the person going around doing the travel vlogging and going, this was the coolest park I found, this was the weird ancient tree that was really cool to sit under, you know, things like that. This is the best spot to find whatever bird, you know, that's the kind of vlogging that I want to do. So if you're interested in coffee shops and the best restaurants and stuff, I'm probably not going to be the person. But if you're interested in random stuff, I guess, basically I like nature, I like paganism, I like horror, I like true crime, I like heavy metal. That's that should give you an idea of who I am, right? So yeah, I'm not going to be the go to this restaurant person, basically. I'm also not going to be the person who really knows how to start or end vlogs, because like I say, everybody already knows, like, you know, I don't like that generic, ooh, like, share, subscribe, whatever, right? I feel like everybody ends their videos that way, and basically, when I'm watching something, if I wanted to do all of that stuff, I've already done it halfway through the video. I don't need telling to do it at the end, you know? So I don't know how my vlogs are going to end, because I don't want to use that kind of outro, basically, you know? Can anybody help me out with ideas for how to end my videos then, I suppose? I don't know. I'm sure I'll work something out eventually for that. But yeah, I don't want to do that generic thing, because we all already know that, right? You know? But yeah, this has turned into another 21-minute video. So I should probably shut up soon. But yeah, that's where I'm going with this. And hopefully this is going to help me get my projects done. Hopefully you're going to enjoy seeing my projects, and you know, maybe somehow this will be like motivating, and maybe it'll help you get projects done that you've been struggling with. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that's going to be it for this one. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again next time.